what we got here then? Any ideas? I suppose the title gives it away. Here we have the small Meccano Eiffel Tower set model, completed just a shade under a year ago, and it's looking a lot cleaner than it was. So folks, there you can see the Eiffel Tower in all its glory, I suppose. Looking a little bit dull now, not as dull as it was about a week ago, but that's not a problem with the zinc, but I'll come on to that in a bit. So we've got here then, it's a very good set for parts, built it about a year ago. I was put onto it by Ralph Laughton, and it was Amazon buy, and it's still available. $14.95, but then you get charged post, which puts it up to nearly 20 quid, if not 20 quid. If you go over the 20 quid, it's post free. So I'd suggest you order 2 for 30 with the free post. Great set for parts, or basic parts I suppose, but it's only about what, a foot, 14 inch high, so that's like, I don't know, 32, 35 centimetres. Nothing really difficult to do. There's a couple of things that are a little bit awkward, but very easy to get around. I've lost my notes, so I forget the full details, but again, usually if it's bad you remember that, and likewise if something's really good and works really well, you tend to remember that. The fitting of the feet right at the bottom here in all the four corners and around the back, that was the most awkward, purely because they're done right at the end, and when you get to that stage there's a leg the other side and it's in the way. So what I'd suggest is one of the first few stages you do, you put the legs together, we call them the legs, and I would suggest that you put those feet on, if you're going to put the feet on, because you don't really have to, put the feet on after you've put the legs together and then continue with the build. The curves to the strips here, a little bit awkward. You could do with a couple of Meccano axles, again as I was told by Ralph Laughton, which was a very good tip, using the axles in the holes to tweak and bend the strips as you need. Because if you bend them with just your finger and thumb, generally you'll get a crease across the hole and it will look pretty rubbish really. So what I did in this case though, because I wasn't down when I built this and I hadn't got any axles, I generally built up the model and let each corner, if you like, of strips just rest against each other. So for the most part they sort of formed their own curve, and I just had to tweak it a little bit. These frames are a little bit awkward to put on, trying to get them into place. The top one was the most awkward, not that it was that awkward really, mainly because the curve needed pushing in slightly to give it a slightly greater curve to allow it to drop down to the right position, but not a lot. Now it's not as shiny as it was because, as I say, it's been made a year, and last year this was displayed at Tim's, that's Telford and Ironbridge Meccano Society's show at Blisshill, Victorian Town near Ironbridge. Very good place to go. There is 2 weekends of Meccano shows there this year due to an error in dates. So if you fancy popping along, please do so. Normal admission charges apply, and I suppose as an extra you get a Meccano show, which this year are on the 15th and 16th and 22nd and 23rd of August. I'll put a link in the description to the website so you can find all the details at your leisure. But last year I was using live steam, which had to be used outside what is a reproduction goods shed, railway goods shed, where the main show takes place. And it was running all sorts of things, traction engines, and I think we had the odd stationary engine as well, Meccano steam engines, and all sorts of models on display outside, let alone inside. And it rained on the Sunday morning, and because it's a reproduction high street, there's quite a bit of dust around, and it clung to just about everything. And this was pretty, well, very dull. But although it's been a week or two since I did a quick polish, it's very cheap furniture polish. It's come up alright. It could be need doing again really, but I've found that the really cheap furniture polish is much better to polish these things than more expensive stuff with beeswax in. I don't know why, but they just do seem to come up better with the common or garden, cheap as you like, you know, less than a quid a can furniture polish, and using a smooth cloth to wipe it off and buff it up. So so I forgot my notes, or forgot everything because I've lost my notes. So I think it was about 2 hours, 2.5 hours I think it was, to build, and as usual that includes making notes. So yeah, I would say a couple of hours really. You have to take your time getting the curves right, but just do it, take your time, do it gently, and it should be alright. And just be mindful that the feet are a bit awkward to put on right at the end. But at £14.95 or 20 quid if you buy one, or I bought 2 went as presents. One's been made, not by the person it was intended to be though, but it is a nice looking model that's quite simple in its appearance and in its build, but very effective. And at that Blitzsill show last year, 2 chaps of about 13, I think, about that, 13, 15 perhaps, we was walking along the high street early on the first day, and we've got all sorts of models on our table, and you know, modern Meccano models, cars, things with motors, things that actually do things, not just sit on top of a desk or whatever. And they spotted it, knew what it was straight away, and the words that they described it as was, "It's cool," which was rather a surprise, considering that it's, well, as a Meccano model, it's been a Meccano model really since the dawn of Meccano, or just about. Most of them are a lot bigger than this, and some, I don't know, 12 feet high, 8 feet high, 10 feet, yeah, something like that. So, a simple model that gives a good representation of the real thing. There's no lifts, but that was one of the things I was thinking of doing to it, actually, putting some lifts in, very small lifts. Running them off a magic motor, a Meccano magic motor, the clockwork, small clockwork motor. But this has got to come apart, at least in part, because the I'm putting my own number 10 set together using, to start with, what parts I have, and then add what I need. And the majority of the parts are going to be zinc plated, purely because I've got many basic parts, are mostly zinc, like strips and things. And I need some of these formed step strips here, so I need some of them, and got quite enough, and because I've given the sets away as presents. But if that brings the hobby on a little bit, where's the harm in that? So there we are, Meccano special edition small Eiffel Tower, about a 2-hour build, 2.5 hour tops. Yours still now for about 15 to 20 quid each, and just be careful where you buy it from. Keep an eye on. Do your research. It's easy. Just sit on your laptop or your phone and do a bit of research. For this one, Amazon's probably your best or easiest place to go to. But I can't even show you the box for the date on it. I think it's 2010 originally issued, because I've only kept the front cover of the main, in this case, one model. So there you are, folks. That's it's a very pleasing model. A lot of people like it, even though it's not complicated really. Perhaps a little bit fiddly or awkward in a couple of spots, but nothing major at all. So that's another one. Loads more to come. I'm going to take this apart now, or at least I'm going to remove those curved step strips. I may, for now, add some yellow ones, which I've got quite a few of, just to keep the model together for a bit longer. So maybe see you at Blitzsill in what is it now? 3 weeks time roughly. Come along, we have some fun, we have some fish and chips, and it just makes a good day even better.